Hey, good people. It is Monique's Book List, and we are welcoming you back. We are here to do the opposite book tag. It's just literally they give you every prompt is just two things that are opposite, basically. I tried to pick books that that were kind of in the same genre on some of the more general topics, but some of it I couldn't. So let's get into it. So the first prompt or question is, and I don't remember who the original person is. I do have a link to the video of who the original person is. I'm doing this tag because of Stephanie Talks Romance, and I will put her link down below. If I don't, you have the okay to kind of cuss me out. Not too hard though, because if you cuss me out too much, I might come back at you. So we don't want that. We don't want that. Just say, girl, where that link at? There we go. All right. So the first question is the first book in your collection, the first book you purchased in your collection, and the last book you purchased in your collection. The first book I purchased as an adult that I remember purchasing was a book called The Coldest Winter Ever by Sister Souljah. This book follows the life of a young girl who is in the inner city. I shouldn't say inner city. She's the daughter of a kingpin drug dealer in New York, and it just kind of follows her life. And I think it's over a couple of years, and how she goes from being like this princess to ending up to where she is. So this book was probably the most interesting and saddest book I've ever read in my life. Yeah, it was definitely sad. I don't know if I personally would suggest it because I like The Coldest Winter Ever by Sister Souljah. There was a sequel to it called Midnight because one of the characters in in Coldest Winter, his name is Midnight, and everyone I know loved him in the first book. So I haven't read Midnight. I might, it depends, but yeah. So that was the first book. The last book I bought was called An Honorable Seduction by Brenda Jackson. I purchased this because I want to say the novel Lush talked about her romance, and I wanted to just read a few books of hers, and it was on sale for $5.99 through Kindle, so that's why I got it. Okay, so the next question is the cheapest book and the most expensive book. So the cheapest book I purchased was called the Ink series. It was a series of books through Kindle, and they are by, I want to say Nima Simone or Nima Simone. I think it's Nima Simone. And she ran a sale because she was on what the heck is that? Read Me Romance. And they were on sale for 99 cents. So the whole series was on sale for 99 cents. So that's the cheapest book or series of books that I've purchased. The most expensive book. Now, I don't consider my Harry Potter books expensive but I don't think they were that expensive. So, but this book ranks up there with this price level, and it was America's Test Kitchen, and it's by various chefs who are part of that. And the America's Test Kitchen is a PBS show, and what they do is they test a lot of products and they tell you which one works the best and why, even if they are sponsored by a product like, I don't know, let's say, I don't know, Helms, like if they are testing the best ketchup and that kind of thing, they will still say like, yeah, we're being sponsored by Helms, but Helms is not the best ketchup. Like they're very honest and very transparent about what they don't and do. Like they do it for food, kitchen appliances. Like they do it all. This cookbook is probably my favorite cookbook I've ever had, again, anyone that knows me, I am a trainer by trade and profession. They know that when someone is explaining something to me, I like to know the process and why that process, and they do that. Like they explain that when you're using hamburger or any type of beef, you normally want more fat than you want. You want more fat. Like you usually the leanest you want to go with fat and ground beef, especially, is 20% of it is lean, and then 80% of it is, fat kind of content. Like the content in the fat is heavier, is 80%, and it's usually because how the science behind the food when it comes to cooking it is usually the reason why that. But they explain stuff like that. Now, that cookbook was about $25. That's expensive for a book. But yeah. So I'll go to the next question. The third question is a book with a male protagonist and a book with a female protagonist. Now I have the same problem that Stephanie has, which is when you read a lot of romance, most of the books that you read, they have both perspectives. So I just use one book because it does have both. It does have both point of views, and that is Hate Notes by Vi Keelan. It is a great romance book. It is a slow burn, and I prefer male point of view usually in a book than I do the female point of view. I don't know what it is. I just do. I don't know if it's because I'm already a girl and I don't know. I don't know. But if that's not filling the actual prompt, I will also say, what is it? Twilight. Twilight, the original, and then Twilight okay, Twilight, the original, and then Twilight what is it called? Not revisioned or something like that. Well, where the original Twilight, you're in Bella's head 90% of the time. Well, then in the second one, the revision one, they turn Bella into a boy, and now you're getting the perspective from a boy. Also, there's Midnight from that series also, and it's Edward's point of view of when he met Bella and her family kind of thing. And I think there's technically only 3 chapters of that book because Stephanie Meyer's got her feelings that people were already reading it, and she didn't want to then. Okay, anyway, I'm going to get upset. Okay, the fourth prompt is a book you read quickly and a book that took you a long time to read. I have never read a book over 100 pages in one day. And I did with The Wedding Date by Jasmine Guillory. It's basically what it says. It's a wedding date. You meet Alexa, and I don't remember the gentleman's name. They're stuck in the elevator for like an hour or so together, and by the end of the elevator ride, he convinces her to be his date for his wedding of his friend and this girl who is his ex. So yeah, that's that book. I read that book in 8 hours, and the longest book. The book that took me the longest to read is technically Frankenstein because I haven't finished it. I am still on chapter 5. Yeah. If I want to, okay, so completed book, I would say Grave Mercy. If there's a book that it took me about 2.5 weeks to read that for some reason. I don't know why it took me so long. Okay, so number 5 is a book with a pretty cover and a book with an ugly cover. So a book that I'm reading recently called Wrath in the Dawn. And I don't name who wrote this book. I don't remember her name off the top of my head, but you'll see a picture of it here. If you get a physical copy of it, it's prettier, but just the picture of it here is pretty so amazing. Like the little flower cutouts, and you kind of see the girl's face behind there. I love it. I love it. The ugly book is a book by I think her name is Olivia Dave. I'll have her picture. I'll have the picture of the book here. I hate these books covers. I hate the way they whoever's responsible for drawing these covers needs to retire. The illustration on this book is ugly. It looks like a 4th grader did it. I'm sorry, I'm being disrespectful, but I hate it. Look at dude's hair. Just look at his hair. Who in 2019 would have hair like that? Just saying. Just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. All right, so 6, a national book and an international book. Now, this is a huge general thing. So I figured that I would try to keep it in one genre of books. So I said mystery. So one international mystery was called Murder at the House of the Happy Rooster. I don't have the name of the author on the top of my head, but the book will be here. The national book would be any of the Library Lovers series. And they will be here. I don't remember. I think it's Jenna McKinley. I think it's Jenna McKinley. And both of these books are mystery books. Murder at the Happy House Rooster, or yeah, Murder at the House of the Happy Rooster. It takes place in Thailand, and it is the most interesting book. And it talks about customs, or yeah, culture, and it talks about the interaction between, the interaction between two cultures of Thailand and China. So I like that. And then the other one's just a cozy murder mystery series that, how can you not like it, you know? I mean, if you don't like mystery, I guess you don't like mystery. All right, so number 7. I tried to do the same thing here, but I couldn't take a general topic and make it more specific. I couldn't. So it was called, the prompt is Thin Book, Thick Book. So the Thin Book was Rappaccini's Daughter. It was 48 pages. I'm pretty sure it's considered a short story, but the book itself is 48 pages. And then a long book, I chose Harry Potter, Order of the Phoenix, 870 pages. When I finish Moby Dick, it will probably be the longest book I've ever read. So, yeah. All right. So then, again, it just said fiction / and then nonfiction. I couldn't think of two in the same genre, so I did again. I just picked 2 books. I picked Soulless by Gail Gudgery. Her name will be here. Let me stop. And then The Mother of Black Hollywood by Jennifer Lewis. Now, if you're not familiar with the actress Jennifer Lewis, I don't know where you've been at. This woman has been in a lot of movies. Yes, they've been small parts, but she's been in a lot of movies. And she has literally played the mother of every black actress in all of these movies. She played Tina Turner's mother and What's Love Got to Do with It. She played Whitney Houston's mother. Or she played the mother in the Whitney Houston movie, The Preacher's Wife. She played the mother. She's played mothers in every movie. She played the aunt in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. This book was important it was important to me because if you know anything about me, you know there's a few things that if there was a period in time that I could go back and live in, it would be the 80s. If I could raise my child with today's technology, with the feel of the 80s, I would. I'm one of those people for Ready Player One who's stuck in the fucking 80s. And I said all that to say that she lived in New York in the 80s. And I would have gave anything to live in New York in the 80s. Like, just imagine being in New York in the 80s. It would be like being out west when you're discovering the West. Like, New York became New York in the fucking 80s. Like, theater, music, culture, all of it. A lot of it just happened in New York. And now listen, anyone anyone who knows me will tell you now, I have no desire to live in New York now. I have none. Even if we could afford to do it, I wouldn't do it. I don't want to live in any major city outside of the one I'm in now, Seattle, Washington. And either Toronto or I forget, another Canadian, or I would live outside of Detroit, Michigan. But in the 80s, New York City. Like, just every time I just think about it, I don't know why, and I know it was hard for a lot of people. There were the fires, there were the riots, and I know, I'm romanticizing it, and I openly admit I am romanticizing it. But when she talks about her life in the 80s and how good and bad it was, because all of her life she has dealt with having a bipolar disorder, and just all of her, like, I'm not trying to romanticize her life, but the way she talked about it and how she talked about mental health, and how when she officially knew, like, I need to get help. This is not normal. I can't do this. I can't use sex to heal me. And it was a good book. And she's fucking hilarious. I'm sorry, fucking is one of my favorite cuss words. It's one of my favorite words. So I apologize. I mean not to offend. But yeah, so I said all that to say that. All right, so number 9, romantic and then an action book. Romantic book, The Bride's Test, because it was one of the most recent books I read, and then The Relic is an action book. It is actually an action thriller book. It is very good. It was written in the time of the late 90s. I think you would like it. Check it out. Bride Test is by Helen. Everybody read that book. It's the same author of Kiss Quotient. And then The Relic is written by, oh my God, Preston and Childs. Lincoln Child. I think, no, it's not Lincoln Childs. I think it may be. I don't know. They're going to be here, though. The books will be here. And then the final question. A book that made you happy and a book that made you sad. Something about Sweetie made me happy. Just recently read that book. I've expressed why I liked it in my wrap up for June. And then The Color Purple made me sad and slash then happy. I don't, I'm not trying to be disrespectful or belittling, in any way, but colorism is a big thing in the Black community. And also, what I hate the phrase traditional because it kind of justifies the bad behavior that is fostered under the umbrella of traditional. And when I said all that to say that Color Purple talks about colorism and also traditional marriage, the purpose of traditional marriage. And Alice Walker also talks about homosexuality in this book. She talks about a lot of things in this book. The beginning of this book had me depressed. I've seen the movie. I've bought the movie and the book for several of my very, very close friends. I don't consider it my favorite book of all times, but I do consider it one of my favorite books. The movie is kind of softer than the book. The book is a little more straight punch in the face with how bad Silly was treated and how bad people felt like it was okay to do that behavior to girl children and to women. Like it was completely okay to just abuse your wife because she's your property. So, and now tradition doesn't describe that, but tradition does describe like you obey your husband eats before you do. And a person who helped me break even my perspective, like I never did all of that because I got too much mouth. But I thought, and I still do consider myself even to this day that I kind of like the traditional roles of marriage. I thought I did until I met my husband, and my husband was like, no, I don't make all the damn decisions. We're a partner. Why would you do that to me? So I can walk around feeling guilty if something doesn't work. And he's like, why would I need to? He goes, you're older than me. And 2, he's like, you're just as qualified. But even as being independent, I still was stuck in that traditional point of view of a man is supposed to have it all and know it all and do it all for me. To some degree. I mean, I have been single for a very long time and been living by myself for most of my adulthood. So, and that was weird. He helped me realize I was still stuck in that stuff. And this book highlights that, and I loved it. It did make me very, very sad. But then in the end, with Silly and Suge's like revolution of their friendship / relationship really made me happy at the end. But I wanted to talk about Color Purple, so I just kind of slipped that in there. Don't yell at me. I'll have all the questions, all the prompts down below. If you want to do the tag, do it. I am going to call you out, Bobby. I am going to call you out, Queen of Romance, if you want to do it. Anyone else that wants to do it, you're welcome to do it. Send me a link to your video so I can watch it. I would love to see this. I would love to see your videos. So yeah, so I will let you go. Bye.